We often think of illness as, something that attacks us from the outside, a sudden invasion. But the sources we've collected for this deep dive, they suggest a far more intimate truth. Disease begins internally long before you even see symptoms as what they call biological noise. It's basically a breakdown of communication inside our own cells. So today we are taking a fascinating and I think often challenging shortcut to being well informed. We're looking at where 1980s molecular science meets, well, ancient wisdom. We're going right to the instruction manual of Life Your DNA and exploring something called the DNA protocol. It's a system, a kind of genetic reprogramming that says you can move past that biological noise and establish what they call true biological command using just sound and breath.
And that idea of command, it really starts with a radical shift in how you see the human body. One of our foundational sources, the work of Gurudev Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya, he pushes us to look past the standard biology. He asserted that the body isn't just a group of cells. He called it a divine organization of conscious atoms. Now, that might sound purely philosophical, but here's the fascinating part. Modern molecular science is actually starting to align with the mechanism behind that claim. We're seeing more and more evidence that sound isn't just passive, something you hear. It's a physical measurable force. It reorganizes things. And yes, things includes the actual structure of your DNA.
And that is our mission for this deep dive. We're cutting through all the noise to get straight to the source material, to understand exactly how these specific sound and breath patterns could become, well, the ultimate software upgrade for your own biology. Okay, let's unpack this. If sound is really a physical force, then how immediate, how measurable is its impact on our cells? I mean, a critic would say any effect from chanting is just, stress reduction, maybe better circulation, or a placebo. Is there actual quantifiable evidence that specific frequencies act as a cellular detox?
This is where we move from philosophy to established reality. The change isn't just in your head, it is physical, it's structural. And the evidence for this, you have to go back to 1981, to this groundbreaking research from Dr. Fabien Maman and Dr. Hohen Gramal. They weren't just measuring a calming effect. They conducted clinical studies on human cells. They put them under a microscope and subjected them to different sound frequencies. And their core finding was critical. Harmonious sound vibrations are proven to physically flush out cellular toxins. They even saw diseased cells disintegrate under sonic impact.
Wow, so this wasn't an abstract observation. They were literally watching a physical acoustic reaction inside the cell?
Precisely. They reported that the sound waves were restoring the cell's integrity. They used sound almost like an acoustic solvent. The key insight was that sound isn't just energy, it's an organizer. It takes chaos, that biological noise, and reorganizes it into a harmonic structure, restoring what they called the light, or the original order of the cell.
Which brings us directly to the application from the sources,
Yeah.
the Gayatri Mantra. It's presented here not as a spiritual thing, but as a mechanism, a tool for cellular detox, like hitting a reset button on a micro level. How does that specific sound, that chant, actually achieve this physical cleansing?
The power is in the structure of the sound itself. This is where the ancient wisdom gets really interesting. That specific 24-syllable code, it's not random. It creates a very precise, a very complex bioresonance. Don't think of it like just any music or noise. Think of it like a specific vibrational filter. When the body gets this exact resonance, the combination of vowels, consonants, rhythm, it uses that acoustic energy to clean the cellular structure. It's like having a tuning fork that only resonates with the junk you want to get rid of.
Yeah.
And that allows the cells to communicate clearly again, to function at peak efficiency.
That concept of vibrational filter doing the actual mechanical work is huge. But okay, if that's what's happening to the cell structure, let's go deeper. To the hardware. Here's where it gets really interesting. We're moving beyond cleaning. Can these sound frequencies and our focused thoughts actually interact with the DNA helix itself? Can they repair damage or, fundamentally change our genetic expression?
And this brings us right into the field of epigenetics. And the answer, based on the research cited, is a definitive yes. To understand this, we need to be clear what epigenetics is. Your DNA is the blueprint, right? The hardware you inherited. But epigenetics is the control panel that sits above the genes. It's what determines which genes get turned on and which get turned off. And here we bring in the work of researchers like Dr. Bruce Lipton. His work, especially in the biology of belief, showed pretty conclusively that the cell membrane acts like a reception dish. It receives signals from the environment, and that environment includes internal signals, like sustained sound and focused thought. Those signals are what flip the genetic switches. Your environment dictates your genetic expression.
So the DNA isn't our destiny, it's just potential. And the
Yeah.
environment decides which potential gets realized. Okay, but let's get specific. How does a phonetic frequency, a sound, physically interact with that tiny, tightly wound double helix? This is the core mechanism.
It comes down to a very specific physical interaction called torsional stress. Think of the DNA helix not as a ladder, but as a tightly wound spiral spring, which it is, all coiled up in the nucleus. The phonetic frequency of the mantra creates a subtle, resonant physical twist or pressure on that coil.
The twisting motion.
Exactly. And it's not damaging stress. It's the precise acoustic frequency needed to just momentarily relieve some of the tension on that coil. When that tension eases, the DNA is more open for a moment. It's like slightly unlocking a latch. And that brief opening makes the genetic material receptive to new instructions, to the command carried by the focused thought that's paired with the sound.
So the sound is the key that unlocks the latch, and the intentional thought provides the new instruction set. That is an incredibly sophisticated command signal being physically interpreted by our genes.
Absolutely. This is the synthesis of the ancient and the modern. Gurudev stated, right thoughts and mantra sounds are capable of changing the very nature of DNA. And when you look at that through the lens of modern epigenetics, it implies we're not just hoping for a small boost. We're applying a physical vibration to dictate a new biological outcome. You're moving from a genetic predisposition for disease to establishing a genetic mandate for health.
Yep.
You're actively changing the software.
Okay, that establishes the theory. But knowing the science is one thing, application is totally different. If this is vibrational medicine, and if we need that torsional stress to reach the entire system, we need a delivery system, something that ensures that frequency reaches all 37 trillion of our cells. What's the vehicle for this master protocol?
The delivery system is, surprisingly, the simplest one we have. It's controlled, conscious breath. The breath is the internal amplifier, is the modulator and the main transporter for this vibrational energy. And the protocol itself is extremely rigorous, which tells you how serious the command is. It requires a 35-minute total commitment, and it uses a very demanding, sustained breathing cycle. You have to maintain a 20-second inhale, followed immediately by a 20-second exhale, all while chanting.
20 seconds, wait, 20 seconds in, 20 seconds out. That is monumental. A normal resting breath is, what, 5 or 6 seconds? I tried holding a 20-second breath once. I felt like I was training to be a free diver. For you listening and trying this, that is an athletic feat. Do the sources say to build up to that, or is that immediate intensity part of the trigger?
They emphasize that while you can progress, the goal is that sustained, rigorous effort. The intensity is the trigger. That difficulty is the whole point. When you maintain that extreme 20-20 cycle, you're not just flooding your system with oxygen, you are creating what's termed biological coherence. That sustained, deliberate breath forces the entire physiological system, your heart rate, brain waves, respiration, to move into sync. The body is sort of shocked into a state of total organized coherence, and that creates the perfect energetic environment for receiving new genetic instructions.
Okay, so the breath creates the optimal state, the focused energy. But how do we make sure that genetic command, the sound frequency, is directed everywhere, to every cell, not just the lungs or heart?
And that's where the visualization technique comes in. It's a non-negotiable part of the master protocol. While you're maintaining that strenuous cycle and chanting, you must actively visualize the mantra syllables, the code, passing through your bloodstream, through your lymphatic system. This intentional, focused act of visualization is what ensures the vibrational frequency gets consciously distributed. It's the final crucial step, the one that guarantees the command signal reaches all 37 trillion cells, carrying the instructions to the DNA inside every part of that divine organization.
So the breath creates the environment, the sound provides the key, and visualization is the map to the target. This intense, coherent application is what Gurudev called the path to Kayakalp, which the sources define as complete cellular transformation. That was a truly staggering claim, but it's anchored by a very specific, actionable protocol. Okay, let's do a rapid recap. The 4 key takeaways we've discussed, structured for your immediate recall. Number 1, cellular detox. Harmonious sound literally flushes toxins out and restores the cell's integrity, the Mollmann effect. Number 2, DNA repair. Specific sound frequencies trigger torsional stress, that subtle twist that opens the DNA helix, allowing focused thought to turn healing genes on. That's the epigenetic shift. Number 3, the 35-minute protocol. That rigorous 20-second inhale, 20-second exhale cycle is the delivery system. It forces the body into biological coherence to amplify the signal. And number 4, genetic command. The entire process is designed to move you from being subject to random biological noise to running a highly functional divine organization governed by intentional instruction. So what does this all mean for you? The source material is fundamentally affirming a really provocative concept, that the most powerful tools for your health might not be outside you.
The ultimate conclusion, the empowering one from synthesizing these sources, is very clear and very direct. Your genes are not your irreversible destiny. They're just the software that runs your physical operating system. And through a specific, intentional application of sound and breath, you are told you have the precise code to rewrite them.
So implement the protocol, or maybe just take a moment to regulate your next few breaths. Recognize that the difference between a genetic predisposition and a genetic mandate could simply be a matter of instruction. And if you can command your biology this specifically, what other self-imposed limitations in your life are just waiting for the right instruction to be bypassed? Consider that a simple, focused shift in thought and sound could be the single most powerful piece of operating software you possess. Thank you for diving deep with us.